So by the grace of God, I'm going to be talking on what I titled Boundaries in Love. Boundaries in love. One of the important things to do before a relationship deepens is to ask each other what your boundaries are. Because every human being has their boundary. Whether they verbalized it or they didn't verbalize it, every human being has their boundary. And the reason why you need to ask before a relationship goes too far what the other person's boundaries are is for you to know whether you can work with such a boundary and allow the relationship continue or progress, or you cannot work with such a boundary and look elsewhere. Many believe that when they are in love, love means absolute freedom to do just anything you want to. And when they are trying to place some level of boundaries around you, then it means something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. A healthy relationship is supposed to have boundaries. In fact, when you are in a relationship and there is no boundary, that is when you should be concerned. A relationship that allows you to do anything, how you want to do it, when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it, that's not a relationship. The person is considering you like a national cake he or she wants to eat from and go. There's a level of exclusivity that comes with love. That the person wants some certain benefits or some certain privileges to them alone. So when you're in a relationship with somebody that doesn't care, oh, I like my partner, he's not even jealous, she's not jealous, she allows me to do anything, he allows me to do everything, that means you are not the only one. There will be boundaries when the love is genuine and when the love is wholesome. What is a boundary? A boundary is a line that draws or marks the limit of a particular area. It is a line that marks the limit of a particular area. And when we look at it from the angle of a relationship, a boundary is a point after which you will incur the displeasure of the person you are in a relationship with. The boundary is a point after which you will incur the displeasure of the person you are in relationship with. Or a boundary is the demarcation between the acceptable and unacceptable behavior in relationship. A boundary is the demarcation between the acceptable and unacceptable behavior in relationship. And you have to tell yourselves what boundaries should exist in your relationship. Because if you didn't clearly state your boundary, you cannot claim anybody infringing on your boundaries. If you never verbalized it, that this is what is acceptable behavior and this is the unacceptable behavior in this relationship, you have no right to say somebody offended you because you never mentioned it at any point in time. And that is why the kind of people that will say, nobody can tell me what to do, I don't take instructions from anybody, I have a mind of my own. If nobody can tell you what to do, then nobody can date or marry you. Because if you are going to settle for a wholesome relationship, somebody will have to tell you what to do regarding them. If you want to be in the same ship with me, we are going to be in the same ship relationship, then I will have to tell you, this is how you will relate with me. Then you will have to tell me, this is how I want to be related with. So that we will know the boundaries to maintain, so that cordiality will be sustained. And I'm going to talk about some boundaries that we need to pay attention to in relationship. The first boundary to pay attention to in relationship is the physical boundary. That you are in relationship with someone is not reason enough to unnecessarily encroach on their personal space. They were doing some things before they met you. They were doing some things before they loved you. And because now you are in relationship doesn't mean that they would put every other aspect of their life to a standstill just to create room for you. Every human being is entitled to their private space at intervals. The person you are dating needs time to think. They need time to plan. They need time to self-develop. And they need time to pursue other relationships that has made them who they are. And you have to respect that. Your esteem must be able to carry that. That you can't be the only person in their space. And we must learn to make ourselves scarce. All this going until you wear out your welcome. In the name of I love the person. Why should you see them every day? Don't you have something doing personally? Is that how cheap your own life is? You know, gravel is a stone and diamond is a stone. The difference between a gravel and a diamond is scarcity. If value will be placed on you, you must learn to be scarce. Let them miss you. Give them space to miss you. Not that every time you said you are coming, they will not be looking for excuse for you not to come because you have already overstayed your welcome. They don't even need you to knock before they know. Once they hear the footsteps, they know who is coming. And some people, it's not even about going there. Some people, it's about calling and calling and calling. Calling, sending chats, sending messages, video calls, Snapchat. Haba. Learn to place a restriction on it. It's the 24 hours others are using to make their lives count that they too have. If you want somebody whose life will count to be in relationship with you, you have to give them the time to invest into their lives. Because it is whoever they are that you are going to be identifying with. So if you help them to become non-entities, you are going to eventually identify with a non-entity. And if you give them the space to become people of substance and value, then you are going to be identifying with somebody like that. So give them time to invest into their own lives. And you too should invest into your life. Allow them miss you. Give them breathing space. See, everybody likes somebody that is valuable. And no matter how much valuable you think you are, when you are becoming too common in a space, the value gets lost. So, give the boundary of time to your spouse or to your partner. Give the boundary of time to them. They are your partner. Or you are their partner. You are not their career. You are their partner. You are not their career. For a serious-minded person, some people will even be angry that in the last 2 hours you've not flashed me, you've not called me. In the last 2 hours. How many times, God, do we call God? Allow them time to breathe. Allow them space to become something tangible. Another physical boundary to observe in relationship is touch. Touch is a physical boundary to observe. That you are dating somebody doesn't give you absolute access to their bodies. Some people just assume that because we are in a relationship, it's my own, she's my own. Who said so? What legitimate commitment did you make that made the person yours? The fact that you asked the person to date you and the person said yes is not an automatic access to their bodies. Everybody has a right to tell you what is permitted or what is not permitted when it comes to touch. And don't say, is it not just touch? It is not just touch. Because touch means different things to different people. And when it comes to the demarcations or the boundaries of touch, what works for A might not work for B. So you can't be using your friend to compare. But can't you see the relationship of this person and this person? Maybe they are roommates. You see how they do it when, I'm not that person. So what is working for the person might not work for me. I remembered when I was in the university, there was a gentleman in my 100 level days. And we were good friends, all of us. And probably because in my secondary school days, I lived alone. So there was some level of maturity I developed a bit beyond my age. So the way I relate with people was kind of more matured. And I would just go around, greet people and everything. And I noticed that this person stopped shaking my hands. Normally when I greet, I won't greet you beyond shaking your hands. Then sometimes we just gist and everything. And I noticed that the guy stopped shaking my hands. I personally thought that maybe I offended him or whatever. So one day I just said, Shino, what happened? That I noticed that when I greet you and I stretch my hand, you don't take my hands any longer. You just verbally greet me. And he responded that he notices that my hand connecting with his hand turns him on. He was sincere enough. He was sincere with himself enough to know that, when in relationship, when they talk about love language, there are some people that their own love language has to do with touch. Though touch is not always sexual. It can be normal touch, but for some people it will be sexual. So for somebody like that, the boundary can be, we will greet with mouth. Don't touch me at all. What is your own self? Common handshake. It's not, to you it's common handshake. To him, that handshake is not common. To him. So, the person, So work with the person. Try to respect the boundaries the person creates for you regarding touch. If the person tells you, my idea or the extent to which touch can go in this relationship is handshake, leave it at that. Don't say, why now? Why can't we hug? Are we not in a relationship? If you want to keep it sane, and you don't want one thing to lead to another where you didn't plan.
So I was going to just add to the conversation.
You are beefing some people up.
Oh, no. You know I'm bigger than that. I'm just... No, but again, it could be that the other narrative, you ladies and narratives, he also could be creating that narrative to drag you into a deeper place with him. It may not be the reality. It may just be that he's creating that narrative to make you feel you have this special effect on him that can make you susceptible.
So, when it comes to touch, draw the line. And for every boundary you draw, maintain it. Maintain it. Don't let your mouth be saying no and your actions be saying yes. Draw your boundaries and maintain it. So when it comes to touch, there is boundary in touch. Another physical boundary that we need to pay attention to is sex. Especially in this generation, many people believe that saying yes to dating somebody is saying yes to sex. No. Dating and sex are two different things. They are mutually exclusive. So that I said yes to date you doesn't automatically mean I said yes to sleep with you. And that is why some people will say, oh, but their boyfriend or girlfriend, why did this lady take this guy to court accusing him of rape? If there was a boundary crossed, she has a right to. Everybody has a right over their body. Even in the country, they will tell you, oh, you have a right to what you believe, you have a right to protection, you have a right to security. You have a right to secure your body. And until you want to give your body to another person, nobody should violate that limit that you have given to them. And you will always see it in the way people behave. Because sometimes some people will want to test your boundaries to see what your reaction will be. And if they test your boundaries and you did not eat it hard at that particular moment, they will go beyond that. So you have to be ready to walk away. In fact, the strongest bargaining power you have as a person is the willingness to walk away when the customer is there. But it's either you buy it at this price or go elsewhere. But when are you going? They will even reduce the original price they were supposed to bargain with in business. And the same thing applies to marriage and relationship. When you have your standards, stay with your standard. If the present person doesn't meet up, the person that will meet up will come. Because you are not the only one that has standards, some other people too do. And they will not compromise their standard. So anybody that is trying to go beyond your step boundary, nip it at the bud with every form of seriousness. That come, when we are crying, we can still see. I won't because of relationship compromise this. This is a no-no. And the next time this happens again, we will have to go our separate ways. And mean it with every iota of the word. Because what many people don't know is that if you make an initial compromise to sustain the relationship, you will keep making compromises. And eventually, when you have that relationship, you will not be happy in that relationship because the person would have gotten used to taking you for a ride. That when the other time he or she said this one, when I did it, nothing happened. So going forward, they will keep doing it. And everybody can adjust where the rule is standard. Everybody can adjust. All this lawlessness that we practice in my country, we see people when we travel, blacks like us, fellow Nigerians and other countries, when they say queue, they're not born you. All these ones that they'll be using man on man in Nigeria to break some rules. You can't break rules there. There are airports, they will tell you, if you have this and this and this in your luggage, declare it. And they will tell you, if we discover it ourselves, that we are going to revoke your visa from this airport, and we are going to send you back to your country. And that's what they are going to do. If you declare it, no problem, they will just tell you, this can't enter, this can enter. If you don't declare it, once they run it through their machine and they discover it, there was somebody that lost the privilege of entering the country because the person collected food in the plane and kept it in his bag. And you are going into a country where anything food cannot enter. Australia. They will paste it everywhere. Anything, animal skin, any kind of food, any kind of seed, any kind of agric product, they don't want. So, ignorance is not or forgetful. Oh, I forgot, so I touched you where I'm not supposed to touch you. If that kind of forgetfulness ever happens again, then apart from creating the boundaries, also create an environment that ensures the upholding of those boundaries. Sometimes you create boundaries, but your environment compromises your boundaries. You are saying that you believe in no sex until marriage. Fine. And so the boundary is that no sex. But in your room, there's no chair. So anybody that comes to visit you sits on the bed with you. You have already setting yourself up. How can you be saying there is no sex before marriage, but your room has only bed? It doesn't have a chair. And in your level of touch boundary, you allow him to hold your hand. So you are both sitting on the bed and you are holding hand. Then the light is now color blue. Or you are claiming no sex before marriage. There's no chair in your room. You know the person is coming to visit. It is the day the person is coming to visit that you chose to wear bomb short and crop top. You set the boundary, but you are not creating an environment to uphold the boundary. Apart from the physical boundaries, you also need to set emotional boundaries. You need to protect or safeguard your feelings. Feelings are very sensitive, and little things can run so deep that years after you might not even recover. So you need to find a way to safeguard or protect your feelings. And when you are in a relationship, you need to set emotional boundaries. Let the person know what is not acceptable. For instance, you can tell the person, under no situation would we have a disagreement that will make you walk out on me. Once you walk out, the relationship worked out with you. Under no situation or circumstance should we be calling on phone, maybe trying to sort out a disagreement or whatever, and you cut the phone on me. If your temper is rising and you don't trust yourself to say the right things, tell me before you cut it that please, I need to calm down so that I will not say the wrong things. I will call you back in 5 minutes. Not just that we are talking and you cut the phone on me. Certain emotional boundaries include telling them there are some insensitive jests and jokes some people make that run so deep to strip the esteem of the other person. I'm even managing you. You have no front, you have no back. And you will say you are jesting. Or maybe the lady is talking to the guy and say, oh, all of them are saying they are the leader in their relationship. You two that you have 3 shirts, 2 trousers, you are talking. There are some insensitive jests that you should never make. Or maybe you are going home and you are not saying, they are saying, people should invite their mothers. You that you are coming from a single father, this thing to you are clapping. And some people will say it's a jest. That's being insensitive. Or cases like you have a misunderstanding with your partner, so that you rub it in to let your partner feel like I can always get another replacement for you. In the presence of your partner, you are now calling another guy or another lady. People do it. Some people will even do it to the point of calling another lady to come pick them up, or another guy to come pick them up from the house of their partner, just to show that, don't think, because I'm with you, don't think that you are the only one in my space. That is being emotionally insensitive. And you have to draw the boundary. You have to draw the boundary. And also draw boundaries in emotional deposits. What you would not eat, don't bother smelling it. Don't let anybody you don't intend to share your future with make some personal deposits in you. And what do I mean by that? You know that you can't date this person. You know that you can't marry this person. You know that this person is even unavailable. Unavailable meaning probably the person is married, or the person is separated but not divorced. The person is now telling you personal things. And you know, my wife is not even good in bed, and you are single and you are a lady. That information is not for you. You are not a counselor. You are not a sex therapist. So what is he hinting at? He's hinting indirectly that he wants you to replace. And to what end if he's a married man?
And you know, I really want to talk about, I'm sorry for just barging into your message. So, boundaries also in communication. Somebody's calling you honey, sweetheart, those kind of things. You have an emotional bank account. So a person is entitled to withdraw from that account. For why should you be making such deposits? Why should I now, as your pastor, call you sweetheart, or honey, or love, or those things we just throw around? Because gradually they will wear your defenses down. And if you end up allowing somebody who means nothing or has nothing to offer you wear your defenses down, you will emote, because we are all emotional creatures. So we have to have defenses. Not only we have to have defenses against inputs, people making emotional inputs that are not credible, right? People telling you things that are quite frankly not calling you names, sending you emoticons. You get my point? Calling you honey for what? I mean, someone should call you honey, say honey for what? Do you get my point? Because now you're looking at somebody who's they're trying to penetrate you. And if it's somebody like, and it tells you also, these are people you should be careful about. Anybody who's flippant like that should be careful about those kind of people, because you will emote. And so if you don't have the authorization to emote and somebody's pushing all of that at you, you should fight back. And God will help us.
So, another area of emotional boundary you should also watch out for is somebody that is supposed to be formal with you becoming informal.
Absolutely.
Either in their disposition, in their action, or in their statements.
Absolutely.
For instance, it might not be verbally that the person is calling you honey sweetie, but the person goes for a break and buys you meal without you soliciting for it. And it wasn't as if you were sick, and it wasn't as if they gave you an extra work that couldn't allow you go out to get a meal.
And it's becoming a pattern.
And it's becoming regular.
A pointless pattern.
Becoming regular. That is the person trying to become an office spouse. And it could be between a lecturer and a student. We've had cases of some lecturers telling their students doing projects to come and meet them in the hotel. Bring your project to the hotel. But I want to believe that it did not start from bring your project to the hotel. There have been some things that the other person, in the name of the student, has not stylishly rejected. Because I want to believe that they too, woman woju, they know who to suggest such things to and who not to. That is why sometimes when you say a lecturer is disturbing you, I want to ask you how you dress. I know that there are some people that something is loose upstairs, but on a larger percentage, sight, what they saw was what drew them to you. There are some clothes that should never see school environment. They should be within the hostel or within your room. So, don't allow any unnecessary encroachment on your emotional boundaries. Set your boundaries and stay with it. Sometimes, because of some people's past, some normal things could be sensitive to them. And when they tell you, don't go there. Don't even say you are joking or you are jesting. Don't go there. And you personally too should not make emotional deposits into people if you don't mean it. I love you is not a word to throw around. It's not a word to throw around. If you don't intend to have an emotional connection with the person, don't use that word. Don't use that word. And let the person you are in relationship with know, okay, in showing friendship to other people, this is how far you can go. When you go beyond this level, I get uncomfortable. You have a right to declare the emotional boundaries. Then the third boundary is the mental boundaries. You need to declare it. Your mental boundary has to do with your beliefs. They have to do with your perspective or your view of life. And they have to do with your convictions. Every individual is made up of their beliefs and their convictions. The other person does not have a right to superimpose their own beliefs on you. I am supposed to compliment you in this dating relationship. I'm not supposed to copy you. I'm to compliment you, not copy you. So if you knew you were looking for your exact type, why don't you go for your exact type? Don't be A and date a B and want to turn the B to A. No, look for a fellow A. And B for a reason. Even if you feel that my beliefs are not appropriate, you approach me from the angle of giving me a superior opinion, a superior evidence that this thing that you believe in might not be doing you, might not be serving you well. And it is due to this, and this. Then you leave the decision to me to weigh my options and make my decisions. But you don't superimpose on me. Some people say, women are supposed to submit. You never marry me yet, though. So you can't be laying the claim of, I'm supposed to submit to you. One. Then two, even when the Bible said wives should submit to their own husbands, the yardstick that was placed above shows that God was talking about husbands whose heads are correct. Husbands that will not demand from you what will be totally off grid. So know who you are. Know what you do. If what you believed in have served you for this long, don't let anybody come and rubbish your boundaries. If you want to change it, let it be because you want to change it, not because somebody is forcing you. You are from a conservative background. In your church, jewelry, trouser, and everything is not permitted. You saw your fellow sister in your Kesco church. You didn't date the person. You now went to a church where they use everything. Ask the person out, and you are now telling the person, you can't wear trouser again. You can't wear a ring again. You can't make your hair again. Why? It is you that believe is wrong. It is you that mentality it works for. It doesn't work for me. I want to believe that for you to have seen me like this and ask me out like this, you like what you are seeing. If you want to win another member to your church, go for evangelism. Don't date me. So, the Bible said, let everyone be fully persuaded. Whatever you believe, believe it. Oh, I believe in tithing. Are you sure they are not using your head? Go and find your kind of person. Go and find your kind of person. We are supposed to complement. I'm not supposed to be exactly like you. And if you are matured and your esteem is good, you should not be threatened by the fact that I'm not like you. You should even see it as somebody coming into your space to cover up for the area where lapses might be occurring from your own end. Bonvita and Milo will not make tea, it will make chocolate. It is milk and Milo that will make tea. Bonvita and Milo are the same, but they will not get the job done. Milk and Milo are not the same, but that is what will get the job done. So if Milo is saying, milk, you have to be brown like me, and milk is saying, Milo, you have to be cream like me, we will not make tea, we will make chocolate. So the other person has to see that I must not be like you, but I have to work in connection or in synergy with you for us to achieve what we want to achieve. I necessarily don't have to be like you. And you might be wondering, why do we set and state our boundaries? Why do we set and state our boundaries? The first reason is for the safety of the individual. You need to set your boundaries for your own safety, for your own welfare. Because if you don't state it and set it, anybody can trample on you emotionally, physically, sexually, and you will become a victim. You will become traumatized. So, as a precautionary measure, where your own well-being is concerned, you must state your boundaries. The Bible said in Proverbs chapter 8 verse 29, Proverbs 8:29, the Bible said, when he assigned the sea its limit, so that the waters will not transgress his command, so that the person coming into your space will not transgress your expectations. They will not wound you. They will not bruise you emotionally. You have to set your boundaries. It's for your own safety. And for the people that think that, oh, boundaries is confining, boundaries is inconveniencing, boundary is actually a statement of love. Boundary is actually a statement of love. The Bible said in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 14, KJV, 2 Corinthians 5:14, he said, for the love of Christ constrains us. The love of Christ constrains us. Why would the love of Christ constrain you? That leads me to the second reason why you should. Love constrains you so that you will not offend them. Everybody stays where they are appreciated, where they find peace and excitement, and they withdraw from places where they are hurt. So if I don't tell you my boundary, you are likely going to hurt me. And when you hurt me, I will withdraw from you. When I withdraw, the relationship is over. So for us to continue to be, I need to tell you what the boundaries are so that you will not offend me. So when boundaries are placed, to constrain you is a statement of love. That is what perpetuates the relationship. Then boundaries aid mutual understanding. Anywhere boundaries are set, it helps you to understand the person better. There are some things some people will tell you they do not like, that you'll be able to infer some other things they are not likely going to like. For instance now, if I come to you and I tell you, oh, I actually don't like guys that wear jeans. Now, where I'm coming from, my faith doesn't really agree with guys that wear jeans. My faith doesn't really agree with guys that keep grown beards. You will be able to infer that for me not to like jeans, not to like grown bears. I'm likely not going to like a guy wearing stud. I'm likely not going to like a guy making hair. Not because it's bad, but I've shown you by what I said is my boundary that I'm conservative. And for me to be conservative to the point where I don't like jeans and I don't like beard, definitely I will not like hair on a man, and I will not. So it helps you to understand you can. Or somebody that tells you, oh, my boundary is that, or one of my boundaries is that I don't like people that smell. I hate body odor. It means different things to different people. It means different things to different people. To some people, they will just tell you, I don't like it, but it's not a big deal. To some other people, it's a big deal. So for somebody that tells you, I don't like body odor, the understanding will tell you, if you are going to meet this person, maybe 5 o'clock in the evening, and you have gone to the market, despite the fact that you bathe in the morning, before going, you need to bathe again to ensure you are fresh. He didn't tell you that. Understanding that came from the boundary that he gave you was what told you that. That, oh, this person is going to likely like a lady using perfume or spray. He didn't tell you that, or she didn't tell you that. Understanding of what he said or what she said, I don't like somebody that smells, told you that. So boundaries aid understanding. Then boundaries help us to sustain our values. Boundaries helps us to sustain our values. Each person's value is like the cornerstone on which you are built upon. And it is only a fool that will enter into a relationship and lose themselves in the relationship. A relationship is supposed to be both independent and interdependent. Independent meaning that you are a human being, you can function fully without the person being in your space. But you can also function when the person is in your space. So it's like, on the tongue, please come, sharp, sharp. So the kind of relationship I'm talking about is when you are on your own, you are like letter I. You are a full-fledged alphabet. And I makes sense, even though it's just one word. And when you are with the person, you form letter H. You are still standing, but you can make progress together. You can do things together. You can achieve together. And when the person decides that he wants to encroach on your boundary, you've gotten to your boundary, and instead of the person to stop, the person wants to go beyond. And you are still on your feet. And you are making progress with your life. That is how it's supposed to be. That is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to sustain your values. You should not lose value because you are in a relationship. The Bible said 2 are better than 1. You are supposed to be better off for being in a relationship, not worse off. Your value is supposed to increase. It's just like this cup is 50 naira. If I bring 2 cups, how much should it be? It should be 100 naira. But by the time a cup is 50 naira, then 2 cups are now 25 naira. Something is wrong. And that is the kind of relationship some people are in. They are better off single. And what is worth doing is worth doing well. It's better to be a happy single than a troubled double. Anybody that is not adding to you should not be in your space. Boundaries help our good side to always be seen. Every human being has their pleasant sides and they are not too pleasant sides. There is no perfect human being. Every human being has their pleasant side and they are not too pleasant side. Or their good side and their bad side. But it's possible for you to be living with somebody whose bad side is 60% and the good side is 40%, and you will never see the bad side one day, if you are able to stay within the perimeters he or she gave to you. And a person can have 80% good side and 20% bad side, and it will be that bad side you'll be seeing every day if you don't know how to stay within the boundaries. So some people will be saying, this guy is very good. Wait, which guy? That monster. The person that is saying this guy is very good has learned to stay within the confines of the boundaries. The person that is saying that guy is a monster, because for everybody you said you cannot date or marry, somebody is marrying such and they are enjoying good relationship. So it's a matter of understanding of boundaries. My time is gone. Let me just add one more. Boundaries help you to establish structure and maintain self-respect in a relationship. Boundaries help you to establish structure and maintain self-respect. If you go to the market and you want to buy these flower vase with the flowers in it, if they tell you this flower vase is 1,000, what you are likely going to do is that you are either paying 1,000 exactly if you are the type that you don't know anything about bargaining. But an average Nigeria would, mama, 900 now. That is even for the gentle ones. If it is for the ogbonges, they will divide it. Miss Alala said 500. What am I trying to say? People are not likely to price you upwards. People are likely going to price you downwards. So if you now don't place a good price on yourself, if you don't place a good price on yourself, because the worst that can happen is that, okay, you are not pricing, you didn't allow me to price you downwards. Okay, but I'm not adding anything to it. I'm buying it at that exact amount. If you are buying it at that exact amount, I still have nothing to lose if I've priced myself well, if I've placed a good price on myself. What many people do, they will sell themselves cheap. In relationship, they will now be looking or expecting the person to place value on them. It doesn't work that way. The value you do not place on yourself, nobody will place on you. If you do not say I am, nobody will say thou art. So place value on yourself. Let there be a level you cannot go beneath. There should be a level you cannot go beneath. And it might be a bit later, but the real kind of person that appreciates such qualities and such values will locate you. Because you are not the only one. For every kind of person you think you are, there are at least 77 or 7,000 somewhere else. You are thinking you can't find this kind of person in this area because you have not stretched out your tentacles. You've not increased your social network. The daughters of Lot, they were saying that there is no man again on the earth. Was it not another settlement that the angels told their father to take them to, that the father said he cannot go there? Is it goats that are living there? But because they did not extend their social circle or tentacles, they had to manage what is not worth it. If you cannot get the quality you want within where you are, stretch your tentacles, don't settle for less. Maintain your boundaries. The stronger the boundary, the higher the value of the nation you are going to. The strong nations of the world, they have very strong boundaries, well-guarded boundaries. Boundaries you can't just encroach upon. It is some countries, I'm not mentioning any country, that it is a drainage that will divide Cameroon from, I didn't mention any country. So once you can jump the drainage, you jump from Cameroon to Nigeria. Then from that, of course, I had some friends that served in Maiduguri, and they were showing me the video. that once you cross this drainage, you are already in Cameroon. When you cross back, you are in Nigeria. So those people, those 7 in Nigeria, will cross over to go and shop in Cameroon because there is a market close by. Then they will be sending me pictures. See, we've traveled out on our legs. Don't be that kind of boundary. Put structure in place that anybody that wants to access you emotionally will work to access you. You place value on what costs you something. What comes to you cheap, you throw anywhere. If you want to be somebody that will be placed value on, learn to set your boundaries and learn to stand by your boundaries. Let everybody be on their feet. When it comes to boundaries, the biggest and the greatest boundary you can have to ensure that you are emotionally secured is the boundary of the presence of the living God around you. The boundary of the presence of the living God around you. Every security the children of Israel enjoyed was that there was a cloud with them. It was a cloud by day. It was a fire by night. What will a fire do? It creates illumination, light. You are able to see where you are going. You need the presence of God to see where you are going relationally. What will a cloud do? A cloud makes mobility difficult. At night, when they are supposed to rest, the cloud comes to their back. So the cloud makes mobility difficult for the Egyptians or any other enemy that wants to encroach. God knows how to protect you from people that can take advantage of you if God is in your space. Because no matter how smart you are, there are some people that are trained deceivers. There are some people that they are inborn 419s. And in this case, they are not 419ing cash, they are 419ing emotions, arts. They know the kind of person you are looking for, how you want it. Oh, the guy must be able to pray in tongues. The guy must be a worker. The guy must know how to say bless you when you greet them. The guy must, and they would conform. And they would conform. But the Bible said there is a spirit in man, the inspiration of the Lord gives him understanding. When God is with you, even at the height of the person's pretense or deception, the Spirit of God on the inside of you will be telling you something is wrong here. That don't go here, something is wrong. David had the record that he did not lose any battle because at every moment in time, for any decision, David will ask the Lord. And because God knows the end from the beginning, God will tell him, though this was how you took your army the other time to win them, when you are going the next time, don't go that route, go like this. And David was able to be successful at every point in time. You don't need to date 10 people before you get the right person. The first person can be the right person. And if you've dated wrongly before, the next person can be the right person. The first can be the right person, the next can be the right person. Because God can lead you. God can instruct you. God can direct you. But if you don't have a relationship with that God, even if he's speaking, you will not be able to understand. You don't need to see your mom to know when your mom is calling you. You don't need to see your dad to know when your dad is calling you. You can recognize the voice because you have a relationship with them. You can only recognize when God is talking to you if you have a relationship with God. And it is that relationship with God that will spare you heartache. It is that relationship with God that would spare you wastage of time in wrong relationships. So every eye closed, every head bowed. I want everybody to be on their feet. Every eye closed, every head bowed. You don't have a relationship with Jesus. or you had a relationship with Jesus before, but some things happened and you backslid, and you want to come back home. You want to make a decision for Jesus. You want to partner with Jesus in your journey of life and relationship. Place your hand on your chest. Every eye closed, every head bowed, everybody on their feet. Every eye closed, every head bowed, everybody on their feet. You are making a decision for Jesus. You want Jesus to be your Lord. You want Jesus to be your instructor. You want Jesus to be your director in the journey of life, so that you will not make the wrong decisions, so that you will not make decisions that will ruin you. Place your hand on your chest. If you are making a decision for Jesus online, please type saved to the number that is being displayed on the screen, and we will get back to you. You are making a decision for Jesus, wanting Jesus to partner with you in the journey of life and relationship. Place your hand on your chest. Let's say together, Lord Jesus, I confess that you are the Son of God. I believe in my heart that God raised you from the dead on the third day. Therefore, right now, I am saved. Old things are passed away. For me, all things are become new. As I partner with Jesus, I enjoy divine direction. I enjoy divine instruction. As a result, my steps are ordered. I make the right human decisions. I make the right relationship decisions. And all things work together for my good in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, for saving me in Jesus' name. If you made that decision with your hand on your chest, join me at the front. I want to pray with you.